Morning, Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. Going to make another horse video this morning. I'm going to start doing more back of what we used to do, and because that's what I thoroughly enjoy. All right, and you'll probably hear some noise in the background. The boys are over there working on the bunkhouse that we're remodeling for this year. So it's just activity, spring, getting stuff ready. So it's just all part of it, okay? So this is Mouse. Now, if you've been following the channel, if you know us, you're familiar with Mouse. I bought Mouse our first year of school. I bought him for me. When the owners unloaded him off, they were students, and they brought Mouse along as a spare in case one of their horses lamed or they had trouble with them during school. As soon as they unloaded him off the horse trailer, I liked him and I wanted him. Come here, buddy. And so I bought him. I bought him for me, and he was pretty decent when I got him. But the problem was when we started school that first year in Tennessee, we were really short on horses. And one thing about Mouse is there's no buck, there's no running off, there's nothing like that in him. And so I had no choice. I kept having to work the new ones that came in that were squirrely. So Mouse got turned into a student horse. And then he was a student horse last year. And so he's developed some natural tendencies to the point, and I don't like where he's at, okay? So we're gonna deal with that. I'm probably gonna ride him this year. And I've said that about several. I've been going back and forth which horse I'm actually gonna take on. But I about decided that I'm gonna ride Mouse this year. Now, when you watch a lot of your horse training videos, most of them are geared towards the horse that has a problem. They're wild, they're scary, they run off, they might buck on you, they won't be still, they won't do this, they won't do that. But you don't often see a lesson video on a horse that's just got lazy and stubborn, all right? And that's what we're going to deal with him. He's been kind of one of our babysitter horses because of his super calm temperament. You would not know, for those of you who know who bloodlines, you wouldn't know that he's actually Hancock bred, if you know what that means. So, but now what you have is you have a child who's had permissive babysitters, and they figured out I can just do what I want. Now, what he wants is not to run off or scrape you off under a tree or anything like that. What he wants is to not do anything, all right? He doesn't want to listen. He'll go ride, all right, but he'll ride at his pace. And he's gotten really sluggish with his signals. Maybe I will. Okay, if you're going to make me. And he's just not, he's not responsive to the level that I expect of my horses. Now, we've ridden him 2 or 3 times this week. We went out the other day, and we had a couple of wild heifers back up here in the hills that we had to go find and drive out. And he whinnied at the other horses pretty bad, okay, when we were out there. I don't like that, okay? But that told me something about where he is up here, okay? And then we went again the next day. We went and rode, and he just wanted to fall in behind Chance and turn his brain off. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do that. He wasn't wild and fighting me, but he was just kind of sullen. You know, he was just, and so we need to understand, when you're going to start working with your horse, you can't just willy-nilly go in and say, okay, well, I'm gonna train my horse today, all right? You've got to understand, first off, what the base foundation problem is. And part of that comes from, you got to understand the instinct of the horse, and then you got to understand the individual personality of that individual horse, okay? Both are important. Now, the horse's instinct is, they have a natural herd instinct. So there's always an alpha, all right? And the horse has to have an alpha. The horse herd has to have an alpha. So every time you bring in a new horse, and you dump that horse in with the other horses, if you've been around any at all, you know there's a shakedown. All right, there's squealing, there's kicking, there's ears spin back. All right, there's biting. Why? Because their instinct says my very survival depends on knowing who the alpha is in this herd. And if I'm going to put my trust in you, this is horse to horse, to protect me, then I'm going to make sure that you understand. I'm going to make sure that you're up to the task of bossing me, of being my alpha. So I have to know. So you have that shakedown. Now we've got, 10 horses here now, and we got 4 down here, and the others are still on top. And so we're riding, getting ready for spring. So sometimes we'll bring the horse down, we'll ride it. Oh, this horse is really good. We'll take him up on top and get another horse. Now these horses have been together, they all know each other, but every time we shift and make a change in the dynamic, there's a shakedown. All right, because alpha is so important. Now when he's whinnying the other day at the other horses, what that told me was he was concerned, where's my alpha? Okay? He's not a bad herd sour horse. You get some of the horses really bad. He's not, but he's not an alpha horse with the other horses. Some of these others will thump him and move him around pretty good. So he needs an alpha, all right? So when he's out there and you're riding him and you go to turn him, and this is not a training session, all right? He's very, very knowledgeable, very experienced, very well broke. All right, he can be very light in the bit. He knows all the leg signals, or he knows all that, but he's just turned it off. He's got lazy. He's turned it off because he is determined in his mind, well, I know more than these student riders that are riding me, therefore I'm now the alpha. All right? But then he gets out there and he doesn't have that natural alpha instinct in the big world, so now he's worried about, oh, where's my alpha? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making that very clear or not. So I know it's really flashy in a lot of training videos. You get a horse that's scared of crossing tarps and you get on them and you move them through and they cross the tarp and say, woo! You know, it really fits today's society. We got a little segment, we have a problem, we dealt with the problem, and now we can fade to black. It's all good. This is not that. All right, so what I have to do, we're working with his mind, his attitude, his view and approach to his position in life when it comes to me. I need to change his mind. I'm not going to train anything on his body. I'm not going to teach him how to do anything. That's very, very, very important that you understand that. What I'm doing is just changing his approach and changing his attitude. And so, Dwayne, what are you changing? I'm going to remind him that I am the alpha. What Rush Limbaugh used to call the benevolent dictator. Okay, I'm your alpha. Now that'll do a couple things. Number one, he'll listen to me because it's like he's my alpha. And number two, he'll stop whinnying at the other horses looking for his alpha because he's with his alpha. Okay? So Dwayne, how do you change a horse's attitude? How do you change a horse's outlook and view on life? You move their feet. The brain is connected directly to their feet. Now, as a animal that instinctively says everything wants to eat me, and therefore my survival is tied to my feet to kick and run away. That's my survival. And so on a very foundational, instinctive level, whoever controls the feet is the boss of the horse. All right, because I control his very existence. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move his feet for a while, and I'm going to say, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And I'm going to do this some today, and I'm going to keep doing this when I ride. You see Will down there? Hmm? Take note of that's a little side thing, all right? Get in the habit. Every time whatever you're doing, your horse's head changes, their energy changes just a little bit. Always be aware of it, and always be aware of what it is, okay? So I'm going to move his feet. Now, as I've talked about in other videos, I don't agree with the philosophy behind most lunging that most people do, all right? I don't agree with the way they do it, and I don't agree with the reasoning behind doing it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move his feet, but I'm gonna move his feet at the tempo that I want. I've said this 1,000 times, if you dump your horse into a round pen, pay attention over here, that ain't about you. If you dump your horse in the round pen and get in there and ki-yi where they're running, trotting, cantering, running around, you're all wrong. Now, if you got a new horse that's wild and they're running, all right, then that's a different thing, and your purpose is to calm them and slow them down. But if you have an issue with a horse, and so you're going to put them in the round pen or on the lead rope out in the yard and move their feet, and you've got them loping, you need to stop, and you need to step back, and you need to start over with your understanding of what it's about, okay? I say this all the time. Making a horse lunge at speed, that's not a horseman. My dog can do that. My dog can make this horse run. A plastic bag blowing across the yard on the wind can make this horse run. That don't make them horsemen, okay? Controlled movement is horsemen, all right? So I hope as we step back a little bit and I move him, I hope the audio is going to be okay. I'm not going to talk a lot, but I will point out what I'm doing, all right? So come on over here, buddy. Now you can tell he's not wild. That's not the issue. Now when I move a horse around in a circle, and he knows how to do this, I come directly into the shoulder. Let's see how best we can do this with a video, okay? I'm in line with the shoulder. Now if you get out of position when you're starting to lunge a horse, especially a horse that is not used to it, if you get ahead of the shoulder, your horse is going to keep stopping. You're cutting them off, all right? If you get too far back here, they're going to move their butt away from you. So you come into the shoulder. Pay attention, all right? So now I'm going to come into a shoulder and I'm going to give him direction. He's like, no, I don't want to. He started. All right, let's go. I didn't touch him. I just gave him some energy. All right? So now I'm moving. He's moving. This is all this simple thing is, and this isn't new. Come on. So he's turning his nose to me. He's saying I'm fat and I'm lazy and I don't want to do this. And I know if I turn and face you, that means I stop. And that's what he's doing, okay? Now I'm turning as he's moving around. I'm staying here. You can see I'm staying here in line with his shoulder. And I'm saying I want you to move your feet, but I just want you to do it at a walk. He's like, well, I don't have a problem doing it at a walk. So now I'm going to move him up into a trot just because I want to give him a very simple command that I want him to say I have to follow. Now he's not a wild horse. I'm not too worried. He's hanging on my hand a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. Don't lose sight of what you're trying to accomplish. And don't try to take on too many things and fix too many things, all right? Whoa. Turn his nose in. All right. This exercise is simply giving him commands so that he remembers, oh, my job is to do what I'm told. All right? There is somebody there who can tell me what to do and I have to do it. I kind of forgot that. I've been doing whatever I want, which I want to be lazy. All right? Now, I gave him direction and smooched and he moved off on his own, so I didn't add energy. But now he's being kind of lazy, so I'm going to add some energy. I want him to step up. Whoa. There we go. This is all about, hey, remember, all you got to do is whatever I tell you to do, and you need to do it in a timely, willing manner. Now I'm going to come out in front of him. I don't know if you noticed right there, I got out of position just a little bit because he knows how this game works, and I want him to just follow the simple cue and follow it through in his own mind. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna change directions. See, Dwayne, I've seen this, other people doing this to train for other things. I know. It works so much. Moving the feet is magic, all right? Come back. See? I'm gonna come in a little bit rough on him. He tried to blow past me and he knows better. He didn't want to swap. It's a little bit more physical effort to change directions. Again, before you get on there and get all critical, I'm not teaching him how to do anything. You've got to understand that. All right? If you lose sight of that, let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. Come on. Then you'll lose sight of what this lesson is. He's done all this so many times. So I don't have to be delicate to teach him how to do it. What we're just working on now is his willingness to lightly do what I'm telling him to do. To remind him that he can't pick and choose in life the actions that he wants to take. Yeah, he's stumbling a little bit. I've got the farrier scheduled to come in next week. They've been off all winter. Whoa. There. Light bump right there. He stopped on the whoa without pulling him in. He's relaxed. Okay. I'm just reminding him. Now you see there? You see the difference there? See, he already knows what he's doing. When I first started, he's like, I don't want to go around. But this time I gave direction. I gave direction and he just followed it. So he's being reminded, oh yeah, that's what my life's about. When Dwayne gives me a signal, let's go. Get that nose in here. When Dwayne gives me a signal, I'm not supposed to say, I don't want to. Ooh. When we were raising our kids, unwilling obedience was treated as disobedience. Because attitude is everything. Everything's built on attitude. When I told my child, you need to go over there and pick up that toy and put that in that toy box. And they went, they got treated as if they looked me in the eye and said, no, I ain't doing that. Okay? Your horse needs to obey. You need to be somebody worthy of being obeyed. Your horse needs to obey, but they need to obey willingly. And if your horse finally obeys, but they don't obey willingly, they've disobeyed. When you got a 1,000-pound or 1,100-pound horse that's unwilling, that's a recipe for somebody getting hurt. All right? Let's go. Let's go. Now, he's been off all winter. He's not in shape. You see his nose to the outside? That's because his buddy Biscuit's standing right there. And he doesn't really want to be doing this. So there's just a little bit of resistance. Don't worry about Mama. She's all right. Were you showing your best side to the camera? All right, you see his head there? He's giving me a little bit of attitude right now. He's not a wild horse. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But see there, his head comes up right there. Every time he comes around, he gets heavy on my hand. There, that's better. Whoa. Now the reason I stopped him there is because I was getting dizzy. There we go. You say, Dwayne, where's this going to lead today? This is it today. Okay? I just remind him of the little stuff. Whoa. There you go. There you go. People, they're familiar with the idea of lunging their horse before they ride. I don't want a horse that I have to lunge before I ride. all right? Sometimes when you're starting out with a fresh horse, you got to do that. But we do our lunging now. But if you're going to lunge a horse before you ride them, forget this idea. I'm going to lunge them to take the edge off. I'm going to lunge them so they're tired. You'll be in the hospital before your horse gets tired from abject exhaustion, all right? That does not work, all right? Lunging is for the mind. It's for the attitude. And so you have to approach it like that. Lunging, I'm going to say this. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I hope you understand what I'm trying to express, to communicate. Lunging is a mental activity, okay? Oh, that's 3 of the horses jumped. The horse eating wheel doesn't come out of that bunkhouse. Lunging is a mental, attitudinal activity. It's not a physical activity. You're physically doing something, but you're doing it for the attitude and the mind. You're not doing it to accomplish anything physically. Any physical accomplishment must be directly related to attitude and mind, okay? You don't lunge them to get them tired. You don't lunge them to take the edge off. You're moving their feet to direct their thinking, okay? All right? So I think we're gonna stop the video there. I think that's enough. I think you get the idea. I feel like otherwise, come on by. Otherwise it's just gonna get repetitive. But you've gotta, I've said in videos before, everything you do with a horse, you've gotta clearly know in your mind why you're doing it, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you expect, and what you expect to happen. All right, it's a journey, okay? All right, it's a journey. Dwayne, where is my journey? My journey is to get this horse back to the place where he listens to me willingly, where he stops just trying to be boss out there, all right? So that is my destination. Where we start. We're starting from a horse that just kind of wants to do his own thing. Our destination is get to a horse who's going to willingly listen to me. What is the journey that we're going to take? The journey we're going to take is we're going to move his feet and remind him that I have control of his feet. That's the journey we're going to take. And how long are we going to take that journey? Until we get to our destination. It's not rocket science. Okay? Well, now I'm not going to keep doing this anymore at this moment because he's just going to get bored. And I've seen horses ruined by nonstop lunging, just brainless, mindless, pointless, purposeless circles, whether it's free in a round pen or on a rope, okay? So he's like, okay, all right, we did. Now, if I come back out here this afternoon, do a little bit of that. If I do a little bit tomorrow, I ride him. I come back, we do some more of this. I ride him, and I ride him responsibly and with purpose. And so the lesson continues on out there when I'm in the saddle. Then what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a horse that gets back, okay, Dwayne is my alpha. Dwayne, he's not going to whip me, beat me, yell at me. We're not, but Dwayne tells me what to do and I do it. Biscuit, do you approve? He's getting in Mama's camera there. Okay, so anyhow, that's the lesson for today. And I hope it helps. And so just, horsemanship is a thinking man's game. All right? Never stop thinking. And everything you do with your horse, be logical, be reasonable. Now what I want right here, because he's trying to do the lazy thing, I want his nose. There it is. Good boy. There it is. Good boy. All right? He didn't want to do that, so I just stayed calm and I said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to give me the halter. Give me the, see there? He wasn't having to do that with all the students. He got a little spoiled. So we're just reminding him, okay? And that's horsemanship, all right? A big part of it, that's all it is. All right? So I hope it helped you a little bit. Be logical, be reasonable, be safe, have fun, and be the boss.